Hi everybody, Shalom. This is part two. I'm thinking about making several of these videos because I've had so many experiences. I think that it would be best to make different videos for each, or else the initial video would have been like 2-3 hours long. So this is video number two, and this is about a particular incident that took place about 4 or 5 years ago. This was in the summer of 2014. Yeah, in the summer 2014. And I was at the house one day babysitting my roommate's kids. She was on a date one night, and this was like Friday or Saturday throughout the weekend. And we were in the living room. I'm sitting on the couch. The boys were in the floor, playing with their toys and stuff. And the TV was on, cartoons. I get up off of the couch, walk down to the end of the hallway to get my headphones because I wanted to listen to some music. And I literally just walk into my room and turn around and notice that all the lights were on. Like, I literally just got my headphones off the shelf, off the dresser drawer, and turned around and noticed all the lights were on, all of them. And I'm like, because it was so weird. I'm like, how did all of the lights come on at the same exact time? And all I did was literally just turn my back, you know? So, I come out of my room. I'm walking down the hallway, and, I'm cutting all the lights off. And I'm like, maybe Eric, ran behind me, like literally behind my back, and turned the lights off. I don't know. So I get to the bathroom light, and I'm, like facing the mirror, and I see the sink, and, and I'm cutting off the light. It's pretty much right here next to my shoulder. And I said something to the kids, like, hey, y'all better stop turning all these lights in here. I'm gonna make y'all go to sleep. And I flipped the light switch off. And right as I'm about to take off walking back down the hallway, I look in the mirror and I see this ghost walking down the hallway, like literally right towards me. And I'm looking at her in the mirror, and I'm looking at my peripheral vision, and I don't see her. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can only see her in the mirror. I know for an absolute fact, I know what I saw. This woman, she was really small and skinny and petite, and she was short. She had blonde hair, white woman, Caucasian woman. And she was just walking down the hallway, but I knew she was a ghost because she looked like she walked out of a black and white movie, but she was like in 3D, like a black and white 3D. And she had this glow, but her glow was really, really dim. It wasn't very, for whatever reason, I felt like her glow should have been brighter than what it was. And she kind of let off this whitish, bluish kind of light, like thunder, like lightning. You know how, thunder, and then, the lightning and then thunder. Well, this lightning is kind of like a whitish blue. That's like the light that was coming from her, but it was really, really, really dim, almost to the point where it's about to go out, like being, put out. And her hair was really, really wild. I'm talking about her hair was just like all over her head. And first thing I thought, oh wow, she was murdered. Like she had to have been murdered because the way her hair looked. And the other thing I noticed, she had on this dress, and her dress was from like the 60s and 70s. She was dressed like a hippie, like the hippies that, the hold up the peace sign and make love not war. She was dressed just like that, like from the 60s and 70s. And she looked so miserable in her face. I will never forget her face, ever forget her face. She just looked so miserable and tired and exhausted. And I mean, she literally just just, I mean, she just looks so, she just, like, she just wanted it to be over. She just, I just want to die. I just want to die. I just want to die. Just let it be over. Like, that was the look on her face. Honest to God, I'm so honest about, I wouldn't lie. I would not lie to just, deceive somebody, get somebody beliefs. I mean, I actually saw this. And the first thing I thought, if she had never been to hell before, the look on her face and just her whole, she didn't look, I mean, she looked human, though. I mean, her hair was all over her head, but I could just see it in her face. Like, her face is just like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, she was just so, she just wanted it to be over. And she literally walked right behind me, like, you know. And I turned over my shoulder and I'm looking, and I don't see anything with my eyes. I can only see her in the mirror. So right after that, I went in the kitchen. I completely bypassed the kids and I was freaked out. Like, I was honestly freaked out, but I kept my composure because I didn't want to scare her kids. And I went into the kitchen. I got some salt and I started sprinkling salt all over the house. And then I got a cap full of olive oil. I prayed over the olive oil and asked Jesus to turn it into anointing oil. And I dipped my finger in it and put crosses all over all the windows, all over all the doors. And I get to her bedroom door, and for whatever reason, when I dipped my finger in the oil and I put the cross on her door, it literally just shrunk up. It just dried right up off of the door. And I looked at it and and I looked at the paint on her kid's door and my door, and I'm like, oh, it's the same paint. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I just kept doing it over and over and over and over and over. I had to do it like 20 times. I was just about to go back to the kitchen to get some flour because I was going to make it like a toothpaste texture because it was going to stick. And I don't know why, for some reason, I was like, she probably died in this room. But I'm like, we're the first, this is a brand new house. We're the first people to live in this house. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe there was another house before this one, or maybe it's the land. Maybe she died on this land. And my roommate got home. I told her what happened. And she literally just gave me this look like, oh, like, she didn't say, are you serious? Like, no way. She didn't say a word. She didn't say anything. But she did have that look like she was scared. And, I told her what happened. I told her what I saw. I'm like, Vicky, I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. Like, I followed her with my eyes in the mirror. Like, it wasn't what was that? Did I just see that? What? No, like, I saw her in her full form. And, I told her what happened. She was like, oh my goodness, and, went to sleep that night, woke up the next morning, and I noticed the kids' bedroom door was open. And I'm like, oh, they're in her bedroom sleep. She was so scared that she had the kids go to sleep in her room. So, I stayed with her probably like a few more months after that, and I eventually left and got my own, moved out on my own. And that's part of the reason too. And it wasn't until years later, and I always thought about that. I was like, I wonder how she died. I wonder, is she having trouble trying to cross over? And it wasn't until years later, I was, when I turned my life over to the Lord, when I gave my, wholeheartedly turned my life over to the Lord, He revealed to me that this thing used to pull her out of the bed at night when she was asleep at her mom's house. in a particular neighborhood. And her mom does live in that neighborhood. And that she would see this thing. She would be sleeping in the bed, and she would hit the floor and wake up. And she would look and see in the mirror that was on back of the bedroom door, she would see this woman walking too. Like pretty much, she would see her in the mirror, just like I saw her in the mirror. The Lord revealed that to me. Years later, he did. But he revealed to me that this spirit, this unclean spirit, this evil, whatever it was, this ghost, it wasn't just trying to pull her out of the bed to scare her and torment her. It was trying to take her soul out of her body. It was trying to take her spirit out of her body and take it underneath. Now I know exactly as to why she had the kids go to sleep in her room. And she didn't tell me about this. And she didn't say, oh, I remember that lady. She used to mess with me at your mom's house. And she moved with you all the way across town. So it let me know that it wasn't the house. It was her. This thing was onto her. It wasn't the house, and the Lord revealed that to me. He revealed that to me. I mean, I really can't even describe in full detail how big that it just clicked. And I knew it was the Lord. I knew it wasn't nobody but the Lord. I knew it was Jesus. I knew it was. The way this lady looked, I don't ever in my life, I don't ever want to go through what she's going through. I don't want to be there. I don't want any part of it. The look on her face, she had no energy. She literally looked like a zombie, like a walking zombie is what she looked like. She was completely miserable, and her glow was so dim, and she was just exhausted. Like, this lady's been dead ever since the 60s and 70s, and she's just been walking around doing dirty work for the most unclean, trying to take her spirit out of her body while she was asleep and take her underneath. And this happened at least 3 times. The Lord revealed that to me. Because it wasn't until I turned my life over to the Lord, and me and another mutual friend of hers were having a phone conversation, literally like a FaceTime. She said, hey, you still talking to such and such? I'm like, no, I don't talk to her anymore. I moved out, and I don't talk to her anymore. And I was like, hey, did I tell you about the time I saw a ghost in her house? And she was like, no, you never told me that. No, you never told me. And she was like, a white lady in a white dress from the 60s, like a hippie. How did you know? I was like, oh my goodness, she saw her. She's seen her too. Because how did she know what she looked like? How did she know that? And I'm like, did you see her? And she was like, no, I didn't see her. But Vicky used to tell me all the time that thing would pull her out of the bed at night when she was asleep. And I'm like, why didn't she tell me that? Why would she never say that to me? She was like, she probably didn't want you to move out. That rent money and babysitter. Just sleeping in her house with this thing. I couldn't believe it. This thing would be at her mom's house, and I'm like, her mom lives all the way on this side of town. She was like, I know. And I'm like, and her mom does live, her mom lives over there on that side of town. And this thing moved from her mom's house with her. Like, it moved with her. this ghost, evil spirit, unclean spirit, whatever, the look on her, if she hadn't already been to hell, she knew she was on her way. And I don't want no part of that. The look on her face, it was just, she was so miserable. And she looked young, but somehow seemed old. I hope this helps somebody. Shalom.